A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
What is up? We are back. Welcome to the first probably Nerd Lives Matters video here in like 3 months maybe. But I'm back. Haven't talked to Dwayne in a bit. I'm sure the podcast will be back up and running regularly at some point. Right now, I'm kind of, I guess we're both kind of doing our own thing. But I'm sort of focused again on continuing this type of stuff, and I wanted to touch base because there's been a lot of stuff coming out lately regarding Star Wars. There was about a 6 week lull, maybe if that, from the time that The Force Awakens came out till now. But yesterday was Poe Dameron Day. It was April 6th. It was at celebrating the new Poe Dameron comic. Day before that was the release of The Force Awakens on Blu-ray. A couple days before that was the digital release. And then today, yesterday we got the teaser for the Rogue One trailer, and today it actually dropped. We got the actual official teaser trailer, and it was amazing. So I wanted to just sort of do that. This is kind of going to be, I guess, what might be the main thing for at least the foreseeable future, and this is basically going to be an extended Rebel Roundup, which is what we used to do at the beginning of every podcast. But there's enough, I think, news coming out, and obviously that's one of my passions. It's kind of why I wanted to start this whole thing anyways, was to go over Star Wars information, share that with you guys. So that's what this is going to be. It's going to be, hopefully every week, maybe every couple days. Definitely whenever there's some good, juicy Star Wars stuff that comes out, I'm going to go ahead and do one of these Rebel Roundups. And so basically, first and foremost, I wanted to talk about the Rogue One trailer. Like, that was Star Wars. Possibly even more so, I felt, than The Force Awakens, in the sense that The Force Awakens was very much an homage, very much a pastiche, sort of recalling everything as everybody, including us, have gone over ad nauseum. But this felt Star Wars in the sense that I guess more, because it looked like Star Wars. It felt more like the classic '70s Star Wars that we knew. You get to see the Rebel uniforms. It looks like they're on Yavin. At the Masasi Temple base. You get to see. I'm assuming, I think that's Ben Mendelsohn in the white Grand Admiral uniform. Like, that's canon. Like that. I mean, it was canon before with Grand Admiral Thrawn. Sure, he was prestigious, and he was granted one of the few people that had the right to wear the all white Imperial Grand Admiral uniform. And that was cool. Never saw it in any kind of real media, but then now we get to see this here. So that's a Grand Admiral that we're going to be dealing with, hopefully. If it sticks according to the old canon, who knows? We get to see fucking Donnie Yen as an awesome samurai. I'm wondering if maybe he's a Jedi. He was a Jedi, but he to keep, as hiding, or as his hidden persona or whatever. So when he went into hiding, he takes on this mantle of like a fucking samurai, and he's using like an actual sword instead of a lightsaber. That would be cool. Forrest Whitaker looks epic. And he has got that epic "I am in a fantasy role" voice, that he does whenever he's in fucking Battlefield Earth or something. What else? Felicity Jones looks amazing as what's her name? Jyn Erso, I believe is the character's name. It seems to be kind of brought into the fold from Diego Luna's character, who looks to be kind of like the man on the inside with the rebellion. She might be like a live wire, wild, doesn't know what she's doing. So it looks like Mon Mothma, who is in the trailer. It's so freaking awesome. We get Mon Mothma in the trailer, telling her, kind of basically the setup is that she was, I guess, recruited, and she's like, you had forged imperial documents, you have stolen property and all this. Basically, you're kind of a wild card, and we need you for this mission. There's going to be this giant weapons test, and there's this great shot in the trailer, I'm sure you've all seen, where it's a Star Destroyer against this against the Death Star, but there's this shadow going over it, and as the camera pulls out, you see that there are other Star Destroyers in the distance, and they're tiny, so it just gives you the scale of this thing. And then as it pulls out further, you see that they're installing the dish, like the laser dish, onto the Death Star. It's like, oh, how fucking cool is that? The tone of the trailer overall was really, I don't want to say serious. I don't want to say even like grim, because it wasn't grim. It wasn't dark. It was just gritty. It was a war movie. So you're not getting a lot of like somber mood. so much as you're getting more of sort of a heightened on the edge tone from it, because there's there's explosions, and there's this is obviously about them doing an espionage mission, so it's very very military oriented. It's more along the lines of a Black Hawk Down. A lot of people are comparing the trailer to Saving Private Ryan. I don't get that. Like, Saving Private Ryan was very visceral, especially that opening D-Day scene. It's a war movie. There's nothing crazy, visceral or gory or impactful, at least yet. But it does look like it's definitely on the ground. There's AT-ATs, there's AT-ATs like on this planet that are just shooting, just mowing down people. As like it seems like the rogues are running towards it for battle. It looks pretty badass. It looks really good. It looks really, really good. The music was amazing. The music, it was a lot of basses and a lot of like deep rumbling kind of things, with sort of the Force theme played sort of over the Imperial March. So it's kind of a cool mashup, and it just sort of gives the tone that this is going to be something that's a little bit more dark, a little bit more sinister. Not grim though. What else? I was just gonna say something else. Music. Yeah, I don't know. I'll remember it, I'm sure. Either way, it looks amazing. It looks exciting. It sort of stoked up the Star Wars fan in me again, after, like I said, having sort of not a lull, but definitely there wasn't news coming out every week about Rogue One or Episode 8 even. I mean, we got some news about the Han Solo casting a couple weeks back. We did get the Rebels finale, which I'm going to go over here in just a minute as well. But yeah, so Rogue One has definitely restoked that flame, and I'm super excited about it. But yeah, real quick, want to touch base. I was, of course, able yesterday to go and pick up my copy of The Force Awakens. I got the Target exclusive copy because it does have 20 minutes of exclusive behind the scenes features. Not sure which of the features it was that was extra on there. But I pretty much cleared this out on the first day. Rewatched the movie. No commentaries, which was a real bummer. I was really hoping that there was going to be a commentary. Maybe one with like Kathleen Kennedy and J.J. Abrams, maybe with Lawrence Kasdan, maybe even get Michael Arndt in there. I was hoping there would be a couple, maybe one with like the cast, maybe even a third one with like the crew, like the visual effects, the special effects, the sound editing, stuff like that. I guess I just kind of miss those, maybe 13, 14 years ago when DVD was huge and there was, you can get 5 commentaries on the basic disc, you know what I mean, without even any really extra special features. I always thought the commentaries maybe one of the easiest things to do, but maybe not. You got to wrangle the talent, you got to wrangle the crew, the cast, and get them in there for recording. So, hopefully something like that comes out in the future. I would love to see commentaries, because the commentaries on the original or on the saga box that came out, really, I hate those commentaries. They're disjointed. They're just snippets of interviews laid over the movie that, I don't know, it just feels like they could have been done better, and I was hoping for that here as well. Regardless, the Target exclusive packaging, really, really gorgeous. It's in one of these flimsy kind of cardboard ones, which I don't mind. I really don't mind. It's just that as soon as I opened it, it was already kind of dinged up on the inside. Some of the inserts were folded up, and so I might actually rebuy this with the regular Blu-ray thing, and I might get it from another retailer with maybe like an exclusive cover if I can find like a steelbook. Because I honestly thought this was supposed to be a steelbook at Target, but I guess not. But while I was there, I was checking out the Impulse buy line. I bought a little Poe Dameron X-wing, $4. Pretty fucking cool. I was there, and they had the whole setup for Star Wars. And right at the checkout line I was going through, they had like a display for the DVDs and some of the Black Series figures. And the only Force Awakens Han Solo Black Series figure, I think 8-inch, that I've ever seen in person, outside of watching a video on YouTube or seeing it, online or something. It was there, and it was like right there, and I had the money to buy it, but I was like, I don't know if I should get it or not. I'm weird like that. Not hurting for money, but $20 for that action figure, and now I'm regretting it because why wouldn't I get it? Why wouldn't I get it? I have the weirdest lapses in judgment sometimes, or not lapses in judgment. Maybe it's better judgment, save some money. But yeah, and then like I said, yesterday was actually Poe Dameron Day on the 1st of May. Disney, Lucasfilm, and Marvel announced that April 6th was going to be the day that Poe Dameron's new ongoing comic series was going to be coming out. It was actually going to be taking over for the Kanan, the Last Padawan series. That was like a limited run. I think it was 12 issues, maybe 13, maybe with an annual. I don't think so. But it was like 12, 13 issues, and it was a finite story that led up to Rebels. And so now taking over is the Poe Dameron comic. So they announced POE Dameron Day would be April 6th. I don't know if it's gonna be an annual thing. I don't know. But it was something in the teens, maybe 20s. Variant covers for this, along with like they were going to be giving away free pins, which I got one here. I forgot to pull it out. Like free pins, buttons, things like that. When I went to Dragon's Lair here in San Antonio, Texas, which is like, it's my spot. I love that place. They didn't really have any of the fancy ones that I saw online. They basically had just a regular like POE Dameron, just like a regular button. You know, I don't know if you can see that right there. Maybe a little bit closer. Pretty cool. I got one, Christina got one, and I actually was able to snag a second one. Yeah, so I got the comic. Like I said, there were quite a few variants. Actually, at the store, I saw at least 4 or 5 different variants. But I actually went with the original cover, just because it just looks epic. Like it's an X-wing pilot, you know, with the X-wings in the background. You know, I love the X-wing stuff. There was one of the variants that I kind of thought about picking up was actually, it was like a bright sky with a profile of the X-wing cockpit. You couldn't see anybody in there, and then just BB-8's head like over here, and I was like, that's cool, but you don't see enough of the X-wing. You really just see like the window. So I was like, but I did. I read this right before I started recording this. Really good, really fun. This is definitely Star Wars. I know I use that to describe the franchise a lot itself, which is kind of redundant, but it's sort of, I mean, there's a feel that you get with Star Wars, especially when you're kind of referencing the original trilogy, the fun, sort of the stuff that really was inspired by the serials of the 30s and 40s. That's how this feels. This very much captures the 77 Star Wars feel, very much, it expands on Poe's kind of I don't want to say sarcastic, but he's kind of like easygoing, kind of smart aleck kind of tone. He's hilarious in this, and it's really good. It's really cool. It seems to be exploring the mission that he was sent on to find Lor San Tekka. So at the beginning of the comic, it opens up actually, he's in peril, he's going through this cave, and he ends up finding this weird place, and then it flashes back to Leia telling him like, hey, there's this dude named Lor San Tekka, he might know where Luke Skywalker is, I need you to find him. Here are his last known whereabouts. So he goes to this cave where the comic opened up, and then, you know, at that point it cuts to him, you know, landing his X-Wing, and there's this weird egg in the middle of this like settlement, and there's these weird people with like blue splotches on their faces. Some are humans, some are aliens, and they're like, yeah, we know. They call him the Explorer. They call Lor San Tekka the Explorer. Like, yeah, we know the Explorer. He spent 2 seasons with us, and we gave him many secrets. Are you willing to do the same thing? He's like, no, I'm on a deadline. I've got like X-Wings up in the air. I'm trying to find him because the fate of the galaxy is at stake. And they're like, well, kind of a whole like, well, we don't know you, and we're self-righteous, and we need knowledge, blah blah blah. And he's like, all right, well, how can I convince you? And BB-8 finds out that there's been this tracking device stuck on his X-Wing, and the First Order are coming. That's how the comic ends, the first issue. You know, he's in there trying to convince them to help him, and then the First Order attacks, and he's like, all right, so you're gonna let me help you? You know, I got weapons up there, I got some X-Wings. And so, you know, really fun, really good, great art. This is the same artist that has actually done all the stuff for the Journey to the Force Awakens novels, like the character novels. What was it? The Luke Skywalker was the Weapon of a Jedi, Smuggler's Run, the Han Solo one, Moving Target for Princess Leia, and then the Before the Awakening comic. So it's that same art that you'll find in those books. And actually, this dude, Charles Soule, I need to get back really deep into comics, or at least get behind the scenes, because he is writing Daredevil, which is again one of my favorite comics. I believe he's writing Civil War 2. He's like the new Bendis in terms of like the amount of books that he's reading. You know, Bendis circa like 0102. I don't know too much about him, but I'm really excited about this comic. I'm really excited about reading more from him and finding out more about Lor San Tekka. And so yeah, so the last little bit I wanted to talk about for this Rebel Roundup was really just the season finale for Rebels, which was amazing. It was actually a little bit better than I was expecting it to be, because I really did figure that Ahsoka was gonna die. Yeah, spoilers, whatever. I really thought Ahsoka was gonna die. She lived, which is weird because I literally like 5 or 6 different people, including Dwayne, all seem to be watching this on their phone, and not just people that I know. Like there was a couple people I know, but there were also people like on YouTube, like different podcasts that I watch, and they were like, "Really, she lived? I was watching it on my phone." It's like, yeah, she lives. I watched it on my TV, and after her and Vader fight, there's a thing. So yeah, her and Vader fight, by the way. Uh, so yeah, it opens up with they're on this Sith planet. I think it's Morban. I think is what it's called now. It's not Korriban anymore since they changed the canon or whatever. It's not Morban. And they go and they find the Sith temple and they manage to get in. It's Ahsoka, Kanan, and Ezra, and they're going in. And I believe they get separated. The Inquisitors are in there and they start fighting. They see that there's been like this ancient like Pompeii like style catastrophe that happened where there's a bunch of like rock bodies, just burnt into rock, and Ezra, is looking around. He sees all these lightsabers. He picks one up. One's a tri lightsaber. So that was the shot that we saw in the trailer of him holding up that tri Kylo Ren style lightsaber. Everybody thought he was gonna be, he's gonna use it. No, it was literally just a throwaway shot. He picked one up, turned it on, and was like, whoa, weird, and put it back down. But it's misdirection for you. He goes in there, they're fighting the Inquisitors. At some point, they get separated, and Ezra is assisted by basically Jafar from the beginning of Aladdin. It's this guy, Old Master. Turns out to be Darth Maul, of course. And man, I have to say, I was kind of on the boat of the whole, or I was kind of in the wagon of the whole, let Maul just, all right, like it was lame. Like it was bad enough you brought him back after being chopped in half from episode 1. Yes, he's cool, and yes, there were some comics and books, but you chop him in half and then you bring him back. It's kind of cheesy. But then that story ended up being awesome in Clone Wars. Robot spider legs aside, it's almost like they retcon that out of continuity. They don't mention it all. They don't mention that he has now new legs. It's kind of just like, oh, okay, cool, we're picking up fresh with Maul, which I really like. I like that they did that. They didn't go through the tedium of explaining every little bit that he's done since the Clone Wars. And also, I just love this take on his character. He is, he hates the Jedi because he was a Sith, but now he hates the Sith because of the betrayal. You know what I mean? So here's this guy who's kind of the polar opposite of Ahsoka. She's no longer a Jedi, but she's not evil. This guy, he's no longer a Sith, but he's not good by any means, and he wants revenge. And he's gonna go at it by any means necessary. Eventually, Vader tracks the guys down to this planet, along with the Inquisitors. Like I said, they're fighting. They have those weird little helicopter lightsabers, which is cool, I guess, but whatever. They can fly around on their lightsabers now, instead of just using the Force. So they go, they're fighting. Maul sets up some scheme, or they find this holocron, and the holocron has to be placed on this shrine, and it's gonna cause the holocron, I think, to open up, but it's also gonna cause the temple to collapse. So they're fighting while this is going on. Kanan's facing, I want to say, the brother Inquisitor. The one that talks like this, the one that talks like Fish Face from Ninja Turtles or Puss in Boots, and I think they're fighting. I think it was him, or it might have been the new one. I don't remember. Either way, Kanan gets blinded. So there's that. Kanan is now blind going into season 3, which has actually prompted a lot of really interesting speculation about as to whether Donnie Yen in Rogue One is Kanan, because he's blind. But some people are kind of like, well, he's Asian. It's like, well, who cares? Like, that doesn't mean anything. Kanan is a cartoon character. You can be cast as an Asian. I think it's a really good No, I'm not trying to be PC or anything. I'm saying I think it's a really good theory. I really do think. And for people to just be like, well, Kanan is portrayed as Caucasian in the comic and he's Asian, it's like, I don't think that the crew, if that is the case, if they hired actors, I don't think they would have cared. It's not like they're gonna really put that much credence into the cartoon anyway, let alone caring about the ethnicities of the characters. Either way, whether that's the case or not, that could be cool if it is. But either way, Kanan is blind. Ezra's having this whole, kind of identity crisis. Maul's, trying to sway him to use the dark side. Eventually, he sees, the error of Maul's ways, and everything, happens. But Vader comes down. Him and Ahsoka have this fight, and it is some character drama for those two characters who, for a decade, since 2005 when Clone Wars came out, the movie, into the show and all that, and it's like you see this character grow for 10 years from Snips, to now Ahsoka, to Fulcrum, and the weight behind all that history, considering what we knew as fans for their relationship, and also just sort of knowing what each of them knew from their perspectives. Oh man, that was good, and the fight was amazing. Uh, Having Matt Lanter come back to do Anakin's voice and having that sort of overdubbed with James Earl Jones's while his mask is broken, and you hear that wheezing breath from like, you know, basically from like Return of the Jedi, or even like right before he gets the helmet put on in Revenge of the Sith. You hear that wheezing. It's just like, oh man, and then it cuts to some other stuff, and then, you know, they're fighting, and then the temple's falling, and then you just see Vader's, you know, it's the end. Everything is kind of saying now Vader's leaving. Ahsoka, she does walk out of the chamber. She walks down some steps into a dark doorway, so you can kind of only see the back of her head and stuff. So I think that's why a lot of people missed it, because it was really like technically, like, it was dark on the screen. Ezra's kind of like shaken because he doesn't know what to think anymore. He just got all this information from, you know, basically an ex-Sith. You know, the whole time he was being tempted, or not tempted, but being swayed to like let his emotions through, and so he's got some confusion now. Kanan's all blind, you know what I mean? So yeah, it left on a really a lot of people are saying like, okay, season 2 is like Rebels Empire Strikes Back. I see it as the beginning of Empire Strikes Back. I see it as season 3 is gonna go really, really dark. You know what I mean? Season 1, you're introducing the characters. Season 2, you're familiar with them. You're sort of moving the overall plot forward. But the tone of it went really dark. But I honestly think that because of the way this ended, it can only get darker. I watched this this panel with Dave Filoni, the director of Clone Wars, and it was for the premiere of or for Clone Wars, for Rebels. Well, he did Clone Wars too, but it was for the premiere of Rebels at Disney. And he said himself, like, yeah, it got pretty dark. He was worried about how dark it was, whether or not people were going to follow. I honestly think they could have gone much more, and still sort of had the tone, you know, good for younger viewers. Which is why I think that season 3 might go even darker. But he was saying that no, even, you know, this darkness even kind of got to him. There's going to be more fun, which I'm always up for, as long as they're fun episodes, not necessarily, you know, Chopper being a nuisance and trying to get a new leg episodes. Like, that's not so much fun as it is cloying. You know, or, you know, Jar Jar episodes like from the Clone Wars. You know, let's have fun and not annoyance. Either way, the show is fantastic. They haven't really missed a step. This season finale was amazing. And yeah, so if you haven't checked it out, please go check it out. It's good Star Wars as well. It moves the story along forward, and it sort of gives you some insight into some of the characters that you do already know well enough to appreciate it. So yeah, check that out. Read POE Dameron. If you haven't already, pick up Force Awakens and enjoy the shit out of Star Wars. Rogue One, go watch it over and over and over again. The trailer, it's amazing. It's really cool. And yeah, I'm gonna try to do a couple more of these. Not necessarily. Well, like I said, I'm gonna try to do the Rebel Roundup here a little bit more often. But I'm gonna try to do more just of these videos, just sort of me, just sort of going off. You know, I mean, me and Dwayne, we do the podcast thing, and that's fantastic. It's great to have somebody to have your thoughts bounce off of, to have a conversation. But if we're not going to be necessarily communicating like on that much of a regular basis, or if we've both got our own thing going on, then, you know, I'm gonna throw some of these up here. I'm gonna do some pickup videos. I'm gonna start doing some pickup videos because I do a lot of Goodwilling, thrift hunting, you know, DVD shopping, stuff like that. So I've got stacks and stacks of stuff I picked up recently. So doing that, I'm gonna start doing some more comic reviews, way better than the POE Dameron one I did just now. I'm gonna review Obi-Wan and Anakin, issues 1 through 3, maybe 4 by the time I do that. And yeah, there's gonna be some more stuff coming from the channel. I posted a song yesterday. Something I do on the side is write and stuff, and it was just like a demo kind of quick thing. I did that. I might put some more of that stuff on there. Either way, it's just gonna be some interesting stuff. If you want to watch, that would be fantastic. If not, that's cool too. If you do watch, I mean, it won't hurt for you to click the like button, subscribe to the channel. I mean, that stuff helps all the time. You know, I haven't monetized the channel, so it's not like I'm asking you for Patreon or for anything like that. Just like it. You know, like it, subscribe, share, comment. You know, if there are other people that might be into this type of stuff, let them know that it exists. You know, who knows? Either way, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Appreciate it. Like I said, I'll be back more often, and may the Force be with you. Peace.